Hello everyone, welcome to the third week's Go Tricks. In the last 2 weeks we talked about a shocking attach as well as the falling pillar. If you haven't checked those two videos out, very interesting video, please go ahead and check them out and you'll learn two very interesting tricks. In this video we'll continue with another trick. The trick has a name and it is called Inverted Lotus. So inverted means it's upside down, and lotus is the plant. Basically, it's a trick that was named by some ancient Chinese players. So let's look at how to set up the tricks as well as how to deal with it. The game sets up like this. White approaches from the inside. Now black decides to play the shoulder hit. And this is called Inverted Lotus trick. So let's see how white deals with it. Sometimes we just want to play simple and try to avoid, because we know the opponent plays a weird move. He probably has some traps behind it. So we go directly into the corner and try to just simply grab territory. Black blocks, white is forced to retreat, and now white makes an important wedge, and black defends with the tiger mouth. White needs to play another move to prevent this really huge turn down. So the joseki would end like this, and black can expand onto the side. While the outcome of this, for amateur players, you might think that white is doing fine because he grabbed himself some territory, but it turns out that locally this is better for black because he has such a thick wall and a nice development towards the left side, while white is all squeezed on to the third line. And the territory is not as big as you think. So this is not a great outcome for white. Well, basically, it is a very good outcome for black and not ideal for white. Similarly, if white really wants to avoid any sort of fighting, this would also be very good for black. The wall has a lot of influence towards this side, while white has all his stones squeeze onto the third line, as well as a weakness over here that he needs to fix at some point. Turns out that white really has to fight. So let's see how white can counterattack this trick. White pushes out, black blocks. White now has two choices. White can either cut or he can hane out. Let's first look at what if he hanes. Black is forced to cut, white ataris, black extends, white captures the stone. White ataris the stone, and the stone is captured. It looks like everything is settled on the surface, but when black plays this move, white is in a very uncomfortable situation. White still has two choices. He can connect over here, or he can take the stone. What if he connects over here? It looks like it's very good for the outside. But now black has a really nice move that will definitely give black a lead. White has the normal response for white is to crawl out. Now black has two choices, and both are very good for black. So if you're a fighter, you can pull out the stone, and then the variation that was suggested by the professional is basically this one for black. Black basically drag this group out, and now white's three stones are really weak in the center, and then there's a move that white needs to play immediately over the corner. So likely the game goes like this, and black can finish by completely killing these three white stones and getting himself a gigantic center as well as influence towards the left side. So this is a very bad outcome for white because all white has is a very it's basically one corner that's about 10 points. There's no way that this corner can compare to what black got at the outside. If you're not so much into fighting, turning here is also an excellent choice. White has to turn down and black can follow up. And white now immediately has to fix, and his best move to fix this threat is to play the S7. And now black can extend onto the left side, and then as we can see visually, we have a very, very nice potential to make huge territory over here. Just visually we can see the difference, right? White is all squeezed over here and black has very comfortable extension and potential. So that is a bad outcome for white. Turning here is not great. What about retreating? Well, it turns out that black can simply block. And white is in an awkward situation. If he plays somewhere else, black can crawl. White blocks, and then this peep is very, very annoying. White has to connect, and now black can come back and fix. And later on, eventually, if black ever gets a chance to play a move over here, white might have the possibility to not be to have to run, basically, right? He's not strictly alive. Even if he looks fine temporarily. So this is not great for white because black gained all these and white is not even settled and this might become a target of attack. So it's not an acceptable outcome for white either. What about white just takes? Well, there's no more the second line attachment, but black can just make a small knight to take advantage of this stone being a bit weak. And white cannot really fight over here because now, now black can just calm down to threaten white's group, and this fight is not it's not ideal for white. It's a very hard fight for white actually, especially with black having supporting stones over here, and this stone is quite weak as well. Very, very difficult fight. So white's best move is probably to slide out, and now black can come back and either play a very solid move, or if you're more ambitious, you can just make this stone more efficient to prevent this rebellion, basically, over here. Very comfortable game moving forward for black, actually. So turns out that at this point, right, regardless what white plays, black can get himself a very comfortable situation. So what went wrong? Well, looks like this honey is the problem. So we are really left with one choice, that is to cut. And this is the correct answer for black. So black now has two choices, but there's only one that is correct. Well, let's first look at what if black blocks. If black blocks, white can Atari and connect. And now it's very hard for black to drag these two, basically drag this corner out to fight against white. The reason being that white can get this incente, right? So now black has a very, very basically this weakness has to be fixed right now, right? Otherwise black's gonna lose all this side and territory. So black has to fix this cutting point, and now when white turns, this is a very difficult fight for black in the corner. Very, very hard to deal with. And this is definitely a very good position for white to be in this fight. Just so favorable for white in the corner. So that is the reason, because of this exchange in Sente, these two really, you can't drag them out anymore because of white can get this S5 stone in Sente. So black's best choice is to actually just to take the outside. But as we can see, white gets a huge corner. That's about 20 points. And black gets an outside, true. It's white's turn to play. Also, you have not completely captured my P7 stone. This stone will later on, not right now, but probably later on, I can drag it out. And as you can see that there's potentially some shape problems over here, and I can use this stone to make my invasion easier. So black's outside is very hard to manage, and white has solid territory, and this is definitely a leading game for white. It's still playable for black, but it's very hard to manage, especially as amateur players. I think having this much territory is awesome. And what can black do with this outside? We're not sure yet. So I definitely prefer white in this situation. Which is why blocking here is probably not the best choice. So the correct move for black to play is to extend. White follows the same pattern, and now black does not want to just sacrifice his corner. He wants to drag the corner out, and the best way for him to play is to play this P3 move. Not only does it guard the corner, but also putting pressure onto white. Basically, he's preventing white from doing this move. So as white, if white attaches, so as black, black can just patiently defend, and white extend, and then you just follow up. It's not so clear what can white do, right? And as you can see by now, that the inverted lotus, the idea behind it is very aggressive, right? Black wants the outside, and black wants the corner. Right? He wants everything, and he's basically saying to white, you can get nothing, and if you try to get something, I will fight it, and I will drag you into fights. So very, very aggressive idea by black, definitely. And at this point, it's probably fine for white, but it's not sure how white continues. White probably has to extend, and then black can just capture these, basically capture the stone, net the stone, so it's dead. And not sure how white continues. White probably turned down, and this is still a playable game, but black definitely got what he wanted. He has the outside, and the corner is fine, even if it's not big, but it's fine. As later on, white can hane and then double hane and create some problems. But black just gonna use his strength to defend the corner. So maybe white's correct variation is to actually push out. Black cannot allow this Atari, so he has to extend. White pushes again, and black extends again, right? Once again, you cannot allow this hane. It's just too big. And now white has a really nice move to go to the second line, right? Really put maximum threat onto black's corner. Black's best defense is to extend at R4. Now, since white is still not out, he needs to play another move. And the best move is to play the small knight to get his group completely out. And now, black will go ahead and play somewhere else, such as maybe defending the corner as well as expanding the moyo, or expanding the moyo towards the left side. And later on, this corner is you should be able to defend this corner as black, and the reason for that is white cannot play anything aggressive like this, right? So because white still has weakness over here, so cannot block anymore, and then there's just there's definitely a lot of weakness going on, right? So you will already be cut off over here, and then white cannot do this. White cannot go too aggressive towards the corner because he has weaknesses over here. If white comes back, we can just make our corner safe. And if he crows, we can just block, and then this corner is fine, right? With this stone, your corner is not fine, but without it, I think the life and death will be different from having this stone over here. So black is, as we can see, the idea behind Inverted Lotus is really to push yourself at max. And I want the corner, I want outside. You trying to kill me? Well, I'm just barely holding it, and I'm barely, even at this point, I'm not defending. I'm not playing passive. I keep going, keep expanding, and I want everything, right? The corner, the outside. You're just gonna run out as a group like this. And this is really the idea behind Inverted Lotus for black. But for white, you shouldn't be too worried about what's going on, because sure, black is very aggressive, but first of all, we got our group out, right? So our group is safe. There'll be some points over here. There's a leak over here, and there's a stone over here that's not dead. Later on, I will wait for the opportunity as white to drag this stone out, and then I can also make comfortable invasion. And this is just a playable game for both sides moving forward. So if you are a very fighting-oriented player and you don't want your opponent to settle with you very, very comfortably, maybe try Inverted Lotus in your game, and I think it's gonna be fun. So this will be this week's trick section. If you like the Inverted Lotus and you use that in your game, let me know how it goes. You can comment below the video and about your thoughts about the outcome, or about any questions you have for this Inverted Lotus variation. Alright, so this is this week's Go trick, and I will talk to you guys next time.